Good morning. We'll call the Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024 Door County Board of Supervisors to order. It's approximately 9 a.m. Will we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call, please. Well, yep. Supervisor Fisher, you haven't checked in yet? Okay. Okay, there's 19 present and 2 excused. Okay, the presentation of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Rublard, a second by Norton. Are there any questions or concerns regarding the agenda? If not, all those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? Okay, the agenda is adopted. Correspondence, there were 2 emails included in the packet. And then the ones that were handed out this morning that came into the clerk's office. Okay, public comment.
Okay, first for public comment, we'll start with those individuals in the room itself. So if you would please come up to the podium and give your name and address. You can come up here if you'd like. You can go either one. It's your preference. It's easier if they can see you up front though.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kathy Greer. It is spelled G-R-I-E-R, just for clarification. 153 South 3rd, Sturgeon Bay. Thank you for including my correspondence in your agenda packet. But as chair of Open Door Pride, I'm here to express that the strength of our community lies in how our elected officials collectively represent us. It's no stretch of the truth that the LGBTQ community has been discriminated against, but we've also been welcomed, and our organization is a really good example of that. And how now going on 8 years, we have seen Door County be more welcoming and open to us. For example, we celebrate the month of June as Pride Month. It's recognized internationally and nationally. How incredible when forming Open Door Pride in 2017 that the city of Sturgeon Bay proclaimed Pride Day, which increased the following year to Pride Week, and for the past 5 years as Pride Month. In your packet, I've sent last year's Sturgeon Bay proclamation, including 2 municipalities represented here, Bailey's Harbor and Sister Bay, and we thank you for your support. I had hoped that the proclamation would have been on the agenda today for discussion. Instead, there's only my correspondence. I would like to make a clarification that we are not here asking for you to fly a pride flag. We are asking for a proclamation, as words do matter. And we are sadly aware of the flagpole policy instated last year, but we are not here to reintroduce flying a flag at county flagpoles, even though in the correspondence I did offer them to any of the municipalities who would like one. The reality is that the LGBTQ community, whether we want to be an acronym or not, and personally I do not, but we will keep using it until we can just be HUMAN. We have someone in the LGBTQ community in our families and in our workplace. And right here in this room, I stand here, a gay woman who formed a pride organization to be able to give hope and safety and welcoming and inclusivity and diversity to this beautiful county we call home. When our elected officials see us as we are healthier and we are happier. And thank you for your consideration of proclaiming June as Open Door Pride Month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment? Okay.
Okay, I'll go to those that are online. If you're online, you do have an opportunity to speak. If you would please raise your hand, then I will recognize you and put you on the floor. Then you have 3 minutes to speak. So the first one with their hand up is Christine Reed. I have you moved into the queue. You just need to unmute yourself, Christine, and you have the floor for 3 minutes.
Christine Reed, 597 Sleepy Hollow Drive. I wrote to the board on April 16th. However,
Christine, we cannot hear you on the
I'm
sound. If you just give me 1 second. I
I'm
can see you're
speak-
trying to talk, but it's not coming through the speaker system.
Yeah, this has happened in the past. Testing,
Oh, there it is.
testing. Got it?
Yep, we have, you can go. Sorry about that.
Christine Reed, 597 Sleepy Hollow Drive. I wrote to the board on April 16th. However, my correspondence is not included in the agenda packet. I welcome the new county board members. I erroneously pointed out that there were no minutes for the March meeting in the agenda packet. And then a very brief statement, which, since it was excluded, I will read it to you. I also want to request that the new chairman and board appoint a replacement for Ken Fisher as chair of the LCC. He consistently stifles public participation, which violates the county's vision, mission, ethics, etc., which are published on your website. In fact, he has disparaged me and others who have attempted to communicate with the LCC. In the past, my correspondence has not appeared in Door County's email system for as long as a month. So I'm not sure why this correspondence didn't get through. My bad, pointing out that there were no meeting minutes. There were no meeting minutes because it wasn't the regular monthly meeting, and I would have appreciated it if someone would have pointed that out to me. I could give you many examples where Ken Fisher has stifled public participation, which would take far more than 3 minutes, but I know that I'm not the only one that feels that way. And there may be participants in this meeting via Zoom. I could not be there today in person. So we're grateful to have the Zoom access, but I don't know who is participating via Zoom. We've asked in the past that the participants list be shown. It's a feature. I think it's actually the default of the Zoom program. We should know who we're talking to, who else is participating. And one more time, I'll ask, please record the LCC meetings posted on your website the way that these meetings are posted also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Is there anyone else who would like to speak? For the final time, is there anyone else who'd like to speak? If not, we can proceed on.
Okay, public supervisor's response. Is there any comment from any supervisor? Okay, seeing no indication. We'll go to the approval of the minutes from the March 26, 2024 County Board meeting. There's a motion by Supervisor Roy Engelbert, a second by Ms. Norton. Any discussion on those minutes? Any corrections, additions? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of approval signify by aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. The county administrator monthly report.
Sure, I'll just be brief, but again, just for our new members as well, what is included in the packet each month is what we just call this a monthly report. And what it really focuses on are any major projects that are occurring that we're trying to track throughout the year. So we have them broken down into what we consider operational or special projects, and then also our capital projects. Again, our capital projects are ones that are actually budgeted each year outside of our operational budget, and we try to track those. And again, those are always listed as part of the report. So if there's any question, you can definitely ask that as part of the meeting. I can give a brief update, but if we get into a lot of detail, then it should actually be requested to be put on the agenda for formal discussion. So this is kind of more of a check-in in terms of what's going on with our capital work and other significant projects. Likewise, if you go to page 2 of the staff memo, we've added a new feature. I'd like to point that out. If you look at, we have an item that's called legislative issues that are submitted. Again, for those that are new, whenever a county passes a resolution that's related to, I guess, political activity at the state or issues of concern, a lot of times as part of the resolution, it'll say at the bottom, and to be shared with the state and all other counties. And then once we receive those come into the clerk, and we distribute that to the respective home committee. And the home committee that would then be responsible to see if they want to take similar action or not regarding that resolution. And then we have a collect all. If there's a resolution that it maybe not fit to a home committee, we send those to the admin committee to look forward to. So you'll see, as an example, we have 2 resolutions that have been submitted. One from Winnebago County pertaining to COVID, and then one from Oneida County in a resolution for our enhanced wake regulations. And then you can see how we referred those. So the one got referred to the admin committee and the other one got referred to the land conservation committee. Again, this was a request of the previous board that we track legislative activity so that we were aware of what's going on. So that is a new feature that's added. We'll continue to have that grow throughout the year as we're moving forward. And then this last part of the report is obviously our summary of our, what we consider our Door County gifts, grants, or donations. Again, those track any of those donations that are coming in. Most of those will be under that $5,000 mark, but we do have a running total of all of those, so you can see what's coming in as far as those opportunities. So with that, I can turn it back over to the chair.
Okay.
There's one question.
Yes. Back on the supervisor's response. Supervisor Schomo, you
Yes,
had flagged it and I didn't see it. So.
Oh, no, this was for this. It was
Oh,
a
for
question
this.
for
Okay,
Ken.
sorry.
Yes, it's okay. Now, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, can you give an update on the timeline for the library? It says that we're looking at a study of use in 2021, and then it will come back to the board in the future. But is there a rough timeline of when that study will be done and we'll be looking at an option for the library?
Yes, actually, we are trying to finalize the discussions with the Miller Art Center. That actually went to committee before the new county board came in, but if you're aware, the library has what's known as the Miller Art Center in part of the building. We have been in discussions with them in terms of what the future plans are. Once we have that agreement in place, we'd like to bring that forward, and I guess that'd be our trigger then to actually formally start looking at the library space and where do we like to go.
Thank you.
Okay, pending business, there's nothing in that regard. Okay, the resolutions, before we get into those, just I should have been able to contact each of you to ask you to do these resolutions as we got into the meeting, but with other things happening, it didn't work out. So I've already asked Supervisor Fisher to do the resolution on behalf of Dan Osted. I will be doing the one on behalf of Dave Lino. Morgan Rusnick, would you do the one for Alexis Heimpeter? And for Rodney Beersley, Claire Morgan, please. Okay. I'm asking because we'll be consistent with what the clerk told us at the last meeting, that would have the sponsor or the presenter as the motion maker. So item 2024-19, Supervisor Fisher, please.
Resolution number 2024-19, recognizing Supervisor Daniel Osted in service to the County Board, District 9.
There's a motion by Fisher and a second by Enikel. Okay. Mr. Fisher, would you read the proclamation, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas Daniel Osted was duly elected to the Door County Board of Supervisors in April 1978 and served through April 1988. He was again elected in April 1994 and served until his retirement from the board in April 2024. And whereas with a total of 40 years of service, Supervisor Austed is the second longest serving supervisor in the history of the Door County Board of Supervisors. And whereas Supervisor Austed represented his district on the east side of Sturgeon Bay, most recently designated as District 9, City Wards 4 and 6. And whereas Supervisor Austed served as County Board Vice Chairperson from April 1982 through April 1988, and from April 2004 through April 2012. He then served as County Board Chairperson from April 2012 through April 2016. And whereas during his tenure, Supervisor Austed served on numerous committees, commissions, and boards, including the following: Administrative as Chairperson, Agriculture and Extension, Airport and Parks, Archives Chairperson, Community Programs Board, Data Processing Chairperson, Economic Development, Emergency Government, Emergency Medical Services Committee and Council, Emergency Services Communications, Ethics Committee, Executive and Personnel, Facilities and Parks Chairperson, Fair Board Liaison, Finance Chairperson, Grievance, Health, Highway Chairperson, Highway and Facilities, Highway Safety Commission Chairperson, Land Conservation Committee, Law Enforcement Chairperson, Law Enforcement Management, Legislative, Museum Archives, Museum Chairperson, Negotiating, Property, Resource Planning Chairperson, Safety, Security Council Chairperson, Social Services, Unified Board, Ad hoc Buildings Committee Chairperson, Ad hoc Home Rule Study Committee, Ad hoc Veterans Memorial Committee Chairperson, Ad hoc Water Quality Study Committee, Ad hoc County Board Realignment Restructuring Committee Chairperson, Ambulance Service Study Committee Chairperson, Bayshore Regional Harbor Council Rep, County Government Study Committee, Future of the Bay Committee, Representative to City of Sturgeon Bay Comprehensive Plan Committee. Now therefore be it resolved that the County Board of Supervisors assembled this 23rd day of April 2024 extends to Daniel Austed our sincere thanks and appreciation for his service to the people of Door County and wish him the best in his future endeavors.
Okay, there was a motion and a second to approve this resolution. All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? That carries. Okay. The next resolution, 2024-20. Ready? Okay. Okay, there's a motion by Stace and a second by Anikel. I'd indicated that I'd be reading this one, having served with former Chairman Lino as his vice chair. Resolution 2024-20, recognizing Supervisor David Lino in service to the county board, to the Door County Board of Supervisors. Whereas David Lino was first elected to the Door County Board of Supervisors in April 2010, he was duly elected to subsequent terms and served through April 15th, 2024 for a total of 14 years. Whereas Supervisor Lino represented Supervisory District 19, encompassing the town of Bailey's Harbor, Ward 3, town of Liberty Grove, Ward 1, Village of Ephraim, Ward 2, and Village of Sister Bay, Ward 1. Prior to the last redistricting, he represented District 20, encompassing the town of Liberty Grove, Ward 2, and the Village of Sister Bay. And whereas Supervisor Lino served as County Board Vice Chair from April 2012 through April 2016, and County Board Chairperson from April 2016 through April 2024. Whereas during his tenure, Supervisor Lino served on many committees, including Administrative, Airport and Parks, Finance, Information Systems, Board of Health, Resource Planning, Human Services Board, Negotiating, ADRC Advisory Board, Bay Lake Regional Planning Commission Rep, Ad hoc EMS Study Committee, and Jindazang Sister City Ad hoc Informal Advisory Group. And whereas Supervisor Lino also served as various times as chairperson of the Administrative Committee and Finance Committee. Now therefore be it resolved that the Door County Board of Supervisors assembled this 23rd day of April 2024 extends to David Lino our sincere thanks and appreciation for his service to the people of Door County and wish him the best in his future endeavors. Okay. All those in favor of approving the resolution signify by aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Resolution 2024-22.
Approve resolution 2024-21 recognizing Supervisor Alexis Peter and service for 24. To the Door County Board of Supervisors. Whereas Alexis Peter was first appointed to the Door County Board of Supervisors on September 26, 2019. She was duly elected in April 2020 and April 2022 and served for 4.5 years. Whereas Supervisor Peter represented Supervisory District 10 encompassing the city of Sturgeon Bay, wards 3, 19, and 20. Prior to the last redistricting, she represented District 13 encompassing city of Sturgeon Bay, wards 13 and 14. And whereas during her tenure, Supervisor Peter served on many committees, including Facilities and Parks, Finance, Highway and Facilities, Legislative, Negotiating, Public Safety, Tech Services, CATS, and Sustainability Committee. And whereas Supervisor Peter also served as chairperson of the Communications Advisory Technical Subcommittee. Now therefore be it resolved that the County Board of Supervisors assembled on this 23rd day of April 2024 extends to Alexis Peter our sincere thanks and appreciation for her service to the people of Door County, and we wish her the best in her future endeavors.
Okay, thank you, Morgan. Okay, we have a motion by Resnick and a second by Norton. All those in favor of approval signify by aye. Opposed? Okay, that resolution carries. And the final resolution on recognition is 2024-22. Claire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-22, recognizing Supervisor Rodney Beardsley in service to the County Board, District 8, to the County Board of Supervisors. Whereas Rodney Beardsley was first appointed to the Door County Board of Supervisors on September 21st, 2021. He was duly elected in April 2022 and served for 2.5 years. And whereas Supervisor Beardsley represented Supervisory District 8, encompassing the city of Sturgeon Bay, wards 7 through 10. Prior to the last redistricting, he represented District 9, encompassing the city of Sturgeon Bay, wards 5 through 6 and 22 through 24. And whereas during his tenure, Supervisor Beardsley served on the Health and Human Services Board, Judiciary and Public Safety Committee, Legislative Committee, Risk Management and Insurance Committee, WCA Ambassador, and Citizen Participation Committee for the Community Development Block Grant Program. And whereas Supervisor Beardsley also served as chairperson of the Citizen Participation Committee for the Community Development Block Grant Program. Now therefore be it resolved that the County Board of Supervisors assembled this 23rd day of April 2024 extends to Rodney Beardsley our sincere thanks and appreciation for his service to the people of Door County and wish him the best in his future endeavors.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Okay, there was a motion by Morgan, a second by Fisher to approve resolution 2024-22. All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? Next resolution, 2024-23. I'll call on the new Chairman of Finance, Jeff Miller, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-23, the 2023 carry forwards from the general funds account. It's recommended that $677,168.79 be transferred from the respective non-lapsing accounts in 2023 to the respective non-lapsing accounts in 2024 in accordance with the Finance Committee adopted carryover funds from 1 year to the next procedure policy. If there's any specific questions, I believe Steve is with us, that he can be a little more in depth.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. There's a motion by Supervisor Miller and a second by Supervisor Vogel. Any questions, discussion on that motion? Vinnie?
The contingency expenses is obviously the biggest amount. Can you get a quick overview on what that is? Thank you. The other ones are
I think
pretty well
we'll-
described, but that's a large one.
We'll have the head of finance answer
Yeah,
those questions.
So that general contingency account is, we put in funds for any non-budgeted expenses that may come up throughout the year. We have utilized that. That's one of the monthly reports that the finance committee does receive. And so that is the leftover balance that is in that account that we're gonna carry over for 2024 in case there's a necessary emergency need of unexpected expense that occurs.
So that's outside of the CIP grant.
That is correct.
Okay, are there any other questions? Seeing no indication of questions, 2/3 vote of the entire body is required because it's dealing with our finances. So if we could vote at this time, please. Okay, that passed by a vote of 19 yes, no opposition, and 2 absent. So. The next item is 2024-24, Land Conservation Committee Membership Repeal of Resolution 2009-16. We'll do it consistent with the new appointments to those committees. Supervisor Thase, please.
Thank you, Mr. Engelbert, Chairman Engelbert. I move to approve Resolution 2024-24 Land Conservation Committee membership repeal of Resolution 2009-16. Basically, what this is that it's repealing a resolution or paperwork that the county's got on record as it now aligns with the state statute, and it has to do with the at-large membership. So basically, the Resolution 2009-16 is basically no longer needed. If there's any more details than that needed, I'm sure Greg can fill in, but that's the long and short of it. Our at-large committee member is Jacob Bry, and that will continue.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, otherwise there's a motion by Thase and a second by Boltman to approve the resolution. All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? That motion carries. And the next would be the ordinance amendment of chapter 36. Mr. Thase, would you do that one also, please?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 2024-03. It's an amendment of our chapter 36 to the Door County Code of Mining Reclamation. The details of the textual changes to it are included in the packet, and you'll see the strike lines for some of the changes. Again, if there's more in-depth questions, Greg will be here, and I'm sure would be happy to provide answers to that.
Okay, are there any questions regarding the changes to the mining ordinance? Okay. Okay, seeing none, we need a 2/3 on that too? Just a majority? Okay,
Ready?
okay, yes. We need a roll call vote on the change to the ordinance. All in favor signify by aye, or use your voting tablet. Thank you. Yes.
As a mine owner myself, I not vote on this. Is there any problem there?
I guess I'd refer that to our corp counsel.
It's the amendments to the ordinance are not gonna have a financial impact on you, so I have no issue with you voting on this
Okay.
matter. I don't feel it's a conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for asking though.
Didn't take your. Oh, yes,
Hmm.
it did. No.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'll mark yes.
Okay, that passes by a vote of 19 yes, 0 no's, and 2 absent. Special reports. And
Okay, so what we'd like to do, we did a little bit of the orientation last time, but we'd like to give an opportunity to put, and you'll see that the annual reports are listed in your packet. But we wanted to give a name with a face. So what we're asking is to have the department heads come up and just introduce themselves. Maybe just review their org chart really quick and give a high level overview of their department. And that will give you at least a brief look into that. And obviously you'll see more detail then from their annual report. So if you just give me 1 second, I'm going to bring up we'll go through kind of an order that Jill had put together for a PowerPoint, not a PowerPoint, overview for us, and we'll follow that order. But I do need to share it with those that are online. So just give me 1 second. All right, so I'll start us off. So I'll talk about this administration first. Obviously, I'm your county administrator. And then what we have within our, what I consider Department of Administration, we have 3 primary areas. We have our human resources, where we have 3 staff that have the title of HR generalists. So they provide all of our services related to all of our employees. Anything from their hiring all the way through their departing or retiring, and all the services in between, as far as benefits and everything related to that. Likewise, we also have our transportation program. And Pam's going to come up and do a little presentation on hers next, and then Jessica will also come up for our broadband. Then our other areas, obviously I have the other departments underneath me that will also be presenting to you. But I would be also, and then in terms of our structure, I report obviously to the full county board, but from committee structure, I report to the administrative committee. And the one special one that we have for broadband is we have a broadband advisory committee. And it's advisory, so any recommendations that they make actually goes then to the admin committee for approval. So, and then the one thing I would be remiss is obviously we have our administrative assistant, Lori Holtz, which I think most of you all work with, but she's a very important glue to keeping us all running straight and all these committee meetings going right. So Pam, why don't I have you come up next, and we're gonna kind of just walk through a high level for all of our departments.
Good morning. So as Ken stated, I'm in the county's transportation department. The county offers a public transit system that has 2 parts. One part is Door County Connect, which is the bus and van that operates out of the Aging and Disability Resource Center here in Sturgeon Bay. It operates Monday through Friday within the city of Sturgeon Bay, and then an extended area up to 10 miles from the ADRC. The county also offers door-to-door rides. That's a almost countywide system, except we don't send vans onto the island up to the ferry dock. It's a much larger system, so we contract that portion out to a vendor currently called Abbey Vans. Depending on where folks are traveling within Door County, the service may be available to them Monday through Sunday, evenings and weekends. And then in more rural areas, it's a Monday through Friday service. So the county offers the 2 transportation services. Our oversight committee is also the administrative committee. We provided just over 45,000 rides last year. And so it's a pretty busy system. And I think I covered it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I will be providing a presentation at the May Administrative Committee. So if anybody wants to dig deeper into my program, please tune into that meeting or contact me anytime. Thank you.
thank you.
Jessica?
Good morning. I am Jessica Hatch. I am the broadband coordinator for the county. So as Ken stated, I am under administrative. I am funded under the Special Projects Fund. And I'm going to go through some of what I cover in my position. So I'm responsible for the overall coordination of the Door County Broadband Fiber to the Premise initiative that we have throughout the county called FiberNet, which is based off a county infrastructure engineering assessment report that was funded by the county, economic development, several of the municipalities, and a couple private entities back in 2021 and 2022. This really requires managing the interaction between all of the stakeholder groups that are involved with this and to coordinate and develop the broadband fiber network in Door County. So this includes local government, economic development, utilities, medical, internet service providers, educational facilities, and the Wisconsin Broadband Office and the FCC. So I provide local coordination and work with all the municipal broadband or technology committees, whatever they are named within their municipality, by helping them with project development, work product, and grants. This work addresses areas of access, adoption, and affordability to meet the federal guideline needs for broadband deployment. We do a lot of coordinating with strategic planning to ensure there's development and implementation of cost-effective networks that will meet future needs of residents and businesses in the county. I assist ISPs in clearing roadblocks for funding, construction, provide support and coordination for public-private partnerships and assistance with grant funding and reporting as the projects develop in the individual municipalities. I work very closely with my county board committee, which is the advisory committee that Ken was speaking about, and Hugh Zettel is the committee chair for that committee. Maintain awareness and monitor the status for federal and state broadband related grants and loans available for this work. Represent the county in regional and state fiber to the premise groups, organizations, and committees, and interact with the media as needed. So I also help lead the team of volunteers, consultants, and community members in strategic planning process to develop and implement the county's digital equity action plan. When I started in April of 2022, the only fiber-related broadband grants that were awarded so far in the county were Washington Island Electric Cooperative for their submarine cable replacement and a small project, pilot project that was to connect 42 locations in the Gills Rock area. Since then, we have been awarded over $6 million in fiber-related broadband grants throughout the county that impacts 5 entire municipalities for every resident and business for fiber to the premise to all of them. That include Bailey's Harbor, Egg Harbor, Jacksonport, Sevastopol, and the town of Sturgeon Bay. Town of Egg Harbor. And will provide access to 7,156 E911 locations throughout the county.
Thank you.
Sure.
Nathan, you're up.
Should probably ask, is there any questions of Jessica from anyone?
Hi, I'm Nathan Martin. I'm the Attorney Director of the Child Support Agency. So I just start off by saying that there's a lot of confusion about what we do. We are not necessarily involved with all child support orders. Basically, the Child Support Agency was part of the Social Security Act of 1974. And what we are is basically the other end of the economic support. So whenever a family is on economic support, we basically get a referral, and the idea is to try and offset some of the costs so that the taxpayers aren't eating the entire bill for all the economic support being used. Excuse me. And trying to make the absent parent, typically the father, being partially responsible. So we only have to get a child support order on certain benefits being accessed. So child support in the majority of our cases isn't actually involved unless certain benefits are being accessed or the custodial parent asks for it. So child support is actually probably a minor part of what we do. The other big thing that we do is paternity cases. So any child born without a father named on the birth certificate, we get a referral from either Vital Records or if benefits are involved, and then we initiate paternity action or establish paternity through administrative means. this is to support, the statistics that show that children without having both parents in most situations is very detrimental to their well-being and economic support. So we go to great strides to establish paternity. We get a lot of resistance on that, but we also get a lot of fathers who give us a call and we help them out. So, I've got 3 or 4 where we got phone calls from dads who asking for our help and applying for our services. So if someone has never been on benefits and they're going through a divorce, they can also access our services by filing an application with us. So we still provide support to families who have never been on benefits. But again, most of our involvement is with benefits. And how this actually works is that when the single parent applies for economic support, they actually sign their statutory right to child support to the state. So I actually represent the state and enforce it on behalf of them. So our 66% of our funding comes from the federal government. The federal government contracts with the state of Wisconsin, and then the counties contract with the state to administer child support. Most of what we do, however, is involving Badger Care. So the federal requirements for MA require that when possible, Badger Care should be the secondary payer. And so how this comes out is whenever someone's on Badger Care in the state of Wisconsin, even if it's an intact family and they're not married, we still have to file an action and we still get what's called a health insurance order. So if they have health insurance available through a private employer, we basically force them to enroll in private insurance if it's at affordable rate. So that would be the majority of our cases. Again, this is all to preserve economic support funds. So whenever someone can acquire financial support from the other parent or through other means, the idea is that we don't run out of Badger Care funds and obviously, all the other economic support programs funds as well. Another big thing that doesn't really get talked about much is economic support just deals with the household and the mother and the children, or the father if they're the custodial parent. And we do a lot of fraud prevention since we have control over the father through the court cases or the non-custodial parent. A lot of fraud involves the parent saying that they're not intact and then they don't have to report the other person's income. But we'll go in there and we'll find that they are actually living in the household and not reporting that income. And then we can investigate that and make a referral to economic support. So again, the majority of what we do is preserving economic support funds. But we also, obviously, the indirect impact of that is obviously supporting single parents, and so they're less dependent on taxpayer money and funds. So it's a lot of money. In 2022, Wisconsin, we collected $864 million. Across the United States, it was $27 billion. And we're also one of the more efficient economic support programs. The rate of return, rate of investment for Wisconsin, for every dollar spent in child support, we almost get $6 in return. So that's about, a $5 net gain. And that's much more efficient than most economic support programs because we're getting that money from fathers rather than, thanks, Jill. She told me I only had a minute on Friday.
You go longer than what you were supposed to.
Thanks. So that's about it. Any questions?
There you go. Thank you.
I was just saying, gotta step it up. We don't want to be here till lunch. I didn't know if it would dang or not. So.
Watch out for the bell.
Yeah. I didn't know we were on this schedule either.
We
It
are on
surprised
a
me.
schedule.
5
Okay.
minutes.
I'm Jennifer Miller. I'm here representing Door County Circuit Court. We're part of the 8th Judicial District. There are 9 in the state of Wisconsin. We're northeastern Wisconsin, and we're all part of the Wisconsin court system. And I'm not going to read the mission because that'll take up my time, but it is in my annual report. Lots of good information in the annual report. Our org chart, I did color code it by the red, are the big red state employees. The two judges are the leaders of our department, Branch 1 Judge, Judge Ehlers, and Branch 2, David Weber. Judge Ehlers is the presiding judge, and that is an appointment by the chief judge of our district. It traditionally is the person with more seniority, and we do expect that when Judge Ehlers retires on July 31st, that Judge Weber is going to be made the presiding judge. Each judge has a judicial assistant and a court reporter. The court reporters are also state employees. The judicial assistants, admin, but also court support. And the judges appoint me, Family Court Commissioner, Register and Probate. I have been in this position for 13 years. I was the first person to hold this position. We, prior to that, had a full-time Register and Probate and a part-time contract Family Court Commissioner, but it's worked really well. And I intend to vacate that position July 31st. I already submitted my notice of resignation for that. So we're looking to refill that position. It will be an attorney. So we're in process. I have a part-time assistant assisting in the probate office. So I will be taking over. I'm judge-elect for Branch 1 on August 1st. A couple of things, time permitting, you'll have the Clerk of Court up here next, and she will talk about all the court records that her office is in charge of. There are a few exceptions. My office, Register and Probate, we oversee the files for probate, guardianship, and mental commitments. Also, I have assistant judicial court clerks. Pamela Parks is the lead on that, and Cynthia Summer, the judicial assistants, and they handle the court records for juvenile, all juvenile court records and adoptions. The rest of the court records are overseen by the Clerk of Courts. And then a few things, highlights in the annual report. We did go over Judge Ehlers' 24 years of service to the county as a judge and to the state of Wisconsin. Impressive career, and we appreciate his service. He started the Victim Impact Panel, and that's for offenders of alcohol offenders, OWI. People convicted of OWI are required to attend this panel, and I will be taking that over later this summer. And then noteworthy, Judge Weber, with his work with Health and Human Services, created the treatment court, which is going really well and successful. And I thought I was going to get dinged, but I guess that's it. Any questions?
Plenty of time. You can keep adding if you
No.
want.
And, yes, sir.
Thank you. So currently it shows the Family Court Commission Register and Probate Judicial Appointment under Judge Ehlers. Does that go with the presiding judge, or does that stay with Branch 1?
It's technically thank you, I meant to mention that. It technically is the presiding judge that makes those decisions, but historically, I was hired by Judge Ehlers and Judge Diltz, and they made a lot of decisions together. And that's what I anticipated with Judge Weber, but he already delegated oversight of the Family Court Commissioner and Register and Probate to me. So, because I'm very familiar with the office, of course, but I'll consult with him. Obviously we'll both appoint that person. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone's agreeing with that.
Now looking at the clock.
Good morning, I'm Connie DeFair. Wondering where to pay that speeding ticket or any citation, or maybe you have a contractor that's not following through on their contract, or that neighbor that's not respecting their property lines or being too neighborly. Maybe it's the spouse that hasn't been faithful in their vows, or maybe you're just following a criminal case. These are all types of items or cases that the Clerk of Courts is responsible for. All this information, you can find it on Wisconsin Circuit Court Application Program, better known as CCAP. I don't know if you all know, but anyone can check on that. Anyone with internet can keep an eye on what's going on in the courts. As you see on the organizational chart, we have 5 deputy clerks in our office. They handle all around 30 different case types each year. They also are responsible for going into court. They take the minutes of the court hearings and trials. They process exhibits and forms, and then they swear in your parties or your witnesses. Last year, we processed over 5,000 cases and received just over $2.6 million. Oh, and those jury questionnaires and jury summons that you all can't wait to receive, them also come from our office. And you'll see the 3 jury bailiffs there. They are responsible for those jurors that get selected to hear the trial. So I solemnly swear that this brief description of my office is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Any questions? Yes. Okay, them are all different case types. Criminal, CR. Let me just see. CV, civil, the financial clerk, collections, CR and CV. So we go per each judge. So like Lori Ehlers goes with judge or branch 1, and Crystal James goes with branch 2 judge, and then family and paternity cases. And there's a lot more. There's like construction liens and loans, but that's the gist of it. And a lot of those other cases are considered civil cases. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Really, Pat, it's covering you? Oh, for communication. No, Pat, no, Brenda, I'm sorry. Is Brenda here?
No, I think she's,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think you're covering it.
I'm sorry. I got, Pat, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to freak you out, so. I just wanted to see if Pat was awake and back. So Brenda was not able to make it, but I was just gonna cover our communication center. So a lot of people also know as our dispatch, but it's formerly named the communication center. You can see the organizational chart, how we have it structured. We have Brenda, who's our director. Then we have 2 leads. And then you can see our staff of 9. Yep, below, or 8, in terms of that. So again, from there, this department is obviously responsible for every call that's made for any type of emergency. Anytime you dial 911, that is coming into this center, and they are handling those calls and dispatching those out. So I'll leave it at that. Sean.
Hello again, everybody. Well, now you all know attorneys are very wordy. Good thing for the county is we're not paid by the 10th of the hour.
You're done.
I promise to keep it short. I'm Corporation Counsel. That's the statutory name for the attorney for the county. What does the Corporation Counsel office do? We provide legal counsel for the county, whether that's the board, whether that's a committee, whether that's a department. We also prosecute and defend all civil matters. Civil matters are any legal matter that does not involve jail or prison time. Under that comes into guardianships. We do mental commitments for someone's mentally ill and is a danger to themselves or others. We review contracts, public record requests, you name it. If it's legal, we're involved for the most part. There are some exceptions with the child support office and the DA's office with civil matters. But for the most part, if it doesn't involve jail time or prison time, we're handling it. Also, as my role as Corporation Counsel, I am the Director of Family Court Counseling Services. The county retains a mediator to help parents with children mediate family issues, custody being decision-making, placement being where does the child go. If you look at the organizational chart, you'll see myself at the top there as Corporation Counsel. The dotted line to Attorney Nathan Martin, you heard from him. He's our Child Support Director. He also acts as Assistant Corporation Counsel. The center there, the county mediator, that is the third party that we retain to mediate family matters. And then there is another assistant corporation counsel in our office and a paralegal. We do have a clerk typist technically on the organizational chart, but we do not have that position filled. We're all perfectly competent typists, so we don't need that position. My oversight committee is the administrative committee. So if there's any questions, I will be happy to continue to talk, but if not, I will gladly sit down. All right, thanks, everybody.
Where's that bell?
Yeah.
Sweet and short.
You probably all know me.
Yeah.
We also, you could start the timer if you want. I'm totally good with it because you can come and see me anytime to figure out what I do, which most of the time we'll be talking and then you'll think I don't do anything else. So my office is the county clerk's office. And I am an elected official, as you all are, elected by the people of Door County. My term is 4 years. Our office issues marriage license and timber cutting permits. We coordinate and distribute and reconcile the dog licenses that you may or may not get if you live in Door County. And we do that in conjunction with our local municipal treasurers. We compile and distribute the official county directory. That's the little bound book that has all the information in it, as well as the property valuation statistical report and proceedings of the county board, which is posted out on the website at the end of each year. I am the clerk, or my designee is the official clerk to the board's regular, special, limited term and standing committees under the direction of the county board chair or a committee chairperson. I create the agendas for the board meetings, keep the minutes and records of all proceedings of the board, including the committees, either personally again or through an appointee. The office is responsible for publishing the minutes, ordinances, and budgetary changes that you all make. And we also file all minutes, resolutions, and ordinances in our office. We are the information system for the county and the public. We handle what we would refer to old school as a switchboard. So we have a general number that does come into the county. If they hit O for operator, they're getting the county clerk's office. We direct public to the proper offices and we answer numerous questions from the public. We reserve meeting rooms for various committees and organizations and internal departments. And then we maintain the fleet vehicle reservations and we manage the mailroom. So I am also as the clerk, the chief election officer of the county. Our office conducts all federal, state, county, local, and school elections in coordination with our municipal clerks and school districts. And we ensure that state statutes governing elections are carried through. We are responsible for programming elections, publishing legal notices, preparing ballots, tabulating results, and ensuring the accuracy of all countywide elections. We utilize the statewide voter registration system, otherwise known as WISVote, and that is the database that holds all of the information about voting records and voters. And then we also provide service out of our office to 18 of our 19 municipalities for that WISVote database. And my oversight committee is the administrative committee. I share a hallway with the county treasurer, otherwise known as the east wing of the government center.
And I let her go first because she's more important. All right, Ryan Schley, County Treasurer. I'm elected as well. Org chart above, I have a chief deputy underneath me, and I'm one of the departments that share the admin assistant with 3 other departments, Jill being one of them. Oversight committee is the finance committee. Primary job functions that come out of our office is we work hand in hand with the assessors and the municipalities to import and balance the assessment roll in the springtime every year. Assessment roll is what drives your tax bill. I know you guys are all happy when you get those in the fall or the winter. We are responsible for printing and supplying all those tax bills to the municipalities. It's their responsibility to mail them to you guys. We contract with currently 18 of the 19 municipalities to collect first half taxes. We're adding one this year. Waiting to hear on the 19th one if they're gonna continue collecting their own or not. Otherwise, we will be collecting everybody's. We are not required to do that, but we contract with them as a service. We are required to collect any postponed or delinquent taxes, which would be after February. Aside from that, we send out delinquent letters for anybody who does not pay. We obviously collect those. We do all of the settlements with the municipalities, school districts, and NWTC, which are all the jurisdictions that comprise your tax bill. We work with Clerk of Counsel for foreclosing on people who do not pay their taxes. Foreclosure can happen 2 years after the issuance of a certificate, which is something that we do every September 1st for any current year tax that has not been paid. Those properties would get sold via sealed bid through the Finance Committee. We usually have a sale about once a year to try and get those properties back on a tax roll. AP checks get printed by finance, but they get printed in our office. We're responsible for distributing those. All deposits come to us to verify the numbers, make sure the reports match before bringing those deposits to the bank. And then all that paperwork gets forwarded up to the finance department to post to the general ledger and to make sure their part is all squared away. And I think that's about it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hello, my name is Holly Malvitz. I'm here on behalf of DA Nordine, who's currently starting a 2-day jury trial today. As you see, our office contains of 7 individuals. Colleen is assisted by 1 assistant district attorney, 5 support staff, including myself as administrative supervisor, a victim witness coordinator, and 3 legal support staff. Our office prosecutes violations of state criminal laws, traffic laws, and county ordinances. The office also handles juvenile delinquency cases, as well as cases involving child protection matters, such as children being removed from the home and placed in foster care. Our office works in tandem with law enforcement from the start of each case. This includes responding at times to crime scenes, providing guidance to investigators, assisting with search warrants, and ultimately prosecuting the case in the courtroom as she is today. The mission of the DA's office is to promote public safety through the fair and just prosecution of criminal offenses, to protect the health and welfare of children who are victims of child abuse and neglect, and to ensure that victims and witnesses of crimes are treated with dignity and respect and are afforded their rights under Marcy's Law. Our office receives case referrals from local law enforcement, such as the Sturgeon Bay Police Department, Door County Sheriff's Office, Gibraltar PD, Washington PD, Wisconsin Department of Justice, State Patrol, Department of Natural Resources, as well as the Department of Health and Human Services for child protection manager or cases. The prosecutor reviews the materials for each case to include police reports, witness statements, and body cam and other digital evidence. She determines, I can say she because we have our assistant DA is also a female. She determines whether there is sufficient evidence to proceed with the case. If charges are issued in a criminal case, the case may be resolved with a plea agreement, short of trial, or it may result in case going to a court or jury trial. In child protection cases, the foremost goal is to keep families safely together. The prosecutor will work with CPS to try to establish a plan to keep the child safely in the home. The DA's office also collaborates with other stakeholders in alternative forms, such as the diversion program and the Door County Treatment Court, who I think right now is at its max capacity. And that is all I have. Good. Question?
Thank you, Holly.
I was told there's a prize for the shortest presentation, so we'll see how well good morning, Aaron Leclerc with Emergency Services. Our department's comprised of 2 divisions. Emergency Management is one of them. Jeb Salins is the director of that. He basically works to prepare for disasters and prepare us all for those. It's a very short summary of that, but Jeb works very hard with all the public safety partners. Last week, he had a training provided for us to work at preparing and planning for events throughout the county. So he works a lot with that in coordination with the state and his oversight. The ambulance side of operations, we run 3 shifts. We have 6 trucks on 24/7, 365 out of 4 stations. And then an additional truck that averages 12 hours a day out of the North Station. When we get to committee, we'll go much more into depth. I love to talk. But to make that up, you know, you can see some of our staffing on each shift. There's 3 lieutenants that are working supervisors that help the 3 captains administer it. We handle our billing within the service. So we have 3 staff led by Lori Hasenjager, who work very hard to recover money from insurance, which helps offset the funds we have to charge the taxpayers. We are funded differently because of how we're structured and we're countywide. We're allowed to function outside the levy. As we go through the budget process, we'll talk about that more. But we work hard. The ladies work very hard to recover what we can from insurance companies to offset what we have to levy to the taxpayers. So how was that, Jill?
That was not the shortest one, but.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any, yeah.
Oh,
I don't see the helicopter pilot in the org chart.
That's coming later this fall.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, that's it.
Good morning, Wayne Spricka, the Facilities and Parks Director for the county. Just looking at our org chart real quick, you can see our boss is Ken and the county board. I really have 2 separate divisions, the facilities and the parks. So 28 people in total in the department when we include the summer SMEs and LTEs that we bring on board. Right now we have 2 vacant positions. One is the administrative assistant and another is a maintenance tech, which we actually have hirees that are coming on board in May. So they're filled but still vacant. We service both internal and external to the county. So what that means really, we service internal to all of our employees and buildings and facilities, and then external more in the way of parks. So the purpose of the Door County Facilities and Parks Department is to maintain the county's facilities and parks for use of all citizens, employees, and visitors to the county, provide oversight and internal project development that is organizationally focused on long-term facility management. Primary responsibilities, we have a little over 500,000 square feet of buildings now that we're maintaining. Within those, we have 20 county parks with over 1,000 acres. The welcome to Door County signs actually fall under me, believe it or not. So that first sign you see coming to Door County, that's ours as well as 2 others within the county on county roads. State of Wisconsin snowmobile programs, the Justice Center, the library, facilities and highway departments, north, south, and central, EMS, Washington Island, north, central, and the bug unit, John Miles Park facilities, Washington Island Government Center, Community Center, and EMS station, miscellaneous towers. So you'll probably hear me talking about towers and generators and projects. So we have towers all over the county that my staff take care of, emergency generators and making sure that those are filled. And pretty much any like land projects all come through the highway and facilities committee overall. So a lot of those will come through my desk in one way or another, whether it's a contract or we're getting new lands, or we're going to sell lands or sell property or acquire new property. It pretty much all comes across my desk and through Sean, obviously, in that respect. We have the Historic Museum, the Government Center, and I don't know if I missed any buildings. I'm sure I did. Day to day, it's really HVAC systems, repair and maintenance of all locks, fleet vehicle maintenance, painting, moving offices. Human Services likes to move around a lot. So we move their offices and their people and help them in that capacity. Really, every single department we touch in some way daily. There's no other way around that fact. Mail, we take care of the mail service between facilities, between Highway, Justice Center, and here, and then we deliver it daily to the post office, through the county clerk's room there. We manage the single stream recycling programs for the county. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Really, we really touch everything that has to do with, both internal services to our employees and then a lot of external services. And CIP programs, right? Long-term planning of capital improvement projects. So, questions? Thank you for not asking any.
Hello, I'm Steve Whipperfirth, the Finance Director. Just a brief little description of the Finance Department. The primary responsibilities of the Finance Department is to safeguard all the financial assets of Door County. The Finance Department administers and accounts for all the financial resources of Door County in accordance with the county board policies, state and federal regulations, generally accepted accounting principles, and governmental accounting standard board pronouncements. If you look at our org chart, you'll see myself as the finance director. I have Joanne Bauman as the assistant finance director. I have two accountants, Brenda Hockey, Paul Sullivan, and our payroll accounting specialist is April Geisel. And then we also have a shared position that we share with the county clerk, county treasurer, finance, and land use services department, and that's Becky Rarica. My oversight committee is the public safety committee. So, but, all right, no, that didn't work out. So, I was just seeing if anyone would catch that, but no, my oversight committee is the finance committee. So otherwise, that is about it.
There you go.
So, no questions. Good.
If you are going to furnish a helicopter, maybe you need to be on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be at the. Yeah. You see it in budget.
Is it 15 minutes or 5?
We'll see.
All right, I just want to be clear. I don't care about time. And you might think I'm a lawyer by the time I'm done talking, because I got a lot to cover. My name is Joe Krebsbach. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services. We go to another page, and so since I couldn't cover both pages, my brain's not that big, I brought some of my team with me to help out. So, and I'll introduce those folks in a minute. Health and Human Services reports to the Health and Human Services Board. Our board is a little bit unique in that it requires citizen members, and so we have 5 of you elected officials, and we have 4 citizen members that serve on that board as well. I'm the director. Beth is the deputy director, and she's going to cover some of the stuff on page 2. And I kind of threw her under the bus and told her about half an hour ago that I was going to ask her to cover some of that stuff, just to buy more time. So we provide services. I could talk about one of these divisions for 20 minutes, but we have 11 different divisions within the department, 9 managers, 3 other level supervisors below those managers, about 100 employees. We cover services from birth to death. Birth to 3 program is for kids who are needing assistance early on in life. We have a children's long-term support program for kids with disabilities from from birth up to age 21. We have our child protection division where we do abuse and neglect cases. And we also handle juvenile justice cases within that division. So any kids that get in trouble with the law. Let's see. We have a large array of behavioral health services. We have outpatient services. We contract for inpatient services. We provide mental health, AODA, intoxicated driver programming. We have a lot of programs that start with C. We use a lot of acronyms. So for those of you who are joining our committee, we'll actually give you a sheet with the acronyms because sometimes we forget. We talk about CCS and CSP and CC this and CC that. But we have 2 fairly intensive mental health programs. Comprehensive Community Services is a program. It's the only program that we run in Health and Human Services that's not mandated. It's also the only one that we are not losing, we don't have to put tax levy into. We're coming even or actually making money in that area some years. Community support program is another intensive outpatient services for individuals with a lot of chronic mental illness. And again, so we're intensively involved in their lives. I often see those people multiple times in a week. Well, I'm flying through the stuff here. Let's see. We also operate economic support. You heard some reference to that before, but we're the gatekeepers for Badger Care and Food Share services. So our staff, one of our divisions on the far right, they do the eligibility and then follow-up determination that people are eligible for those programs. So I'll talk a little bit real quick. We have a fairly large budget. We actually have it broken down into two separate budgets. We have Health and Human Services is one budget, and then Aging and Disability Resource Center is a second budget. Those two budgets combined are about $15 million. That makes some folks nervous. The good news is that only about 30% of that comes from local tax levy. So we have a lot of other funding sources. We do a lot of collections and billing for the services that we provide. And with that, I intended to have Jenny Fitzgerald come and talk about the ADRC stuff. She's our director of the ADRC, but she's at a mandatory training today. So like I said, a few minutes ago, I asked Beth if she would come, and it's not even an area that she supervises. So here we go. Yeah.
I do know what they do. They are, as Joe said, under two different, they're the second budget that we're under. And you might remember that, those of you that have been around the county for a while, like myself, it has the old senior center combined with the ADRC. Senior center based on aging statutes and mandates under the Older Americans Act, and the ADRC's main thrust is to make sure that individuals stay in their homes, preferably in their home community, for as long as they want to, for lifelong, by providing programs like information and assistance, elderly benefits assistance, and for those with disability. And we should say that the ADRC is the Adults Disability Resource Center, is what that acronym of the 100 that we have means. And the ADRC is a DHS funded and mandated program area, but they're all combined in that beautiful new building. How long can we say that's a new building? That beautiful new building. If you've never been in there, you must. It's really something to see how they refab that. One of the main services to the community, nutrition benefit to the community, is the nutrition program. And last year in Door County, we served 43,000 meals across 5 meal sites in Sturgeon Bay, Washington Island, Liberty Grove, Bailey's Harbor, and Brussels. And that included congregate dine-in meals, Meals on Wheels, and that's a program where they come to your home and they do an assessment to see if you qualify and it would benefit your nutritional, physical health, longevity status. And if you qualify, then you can get that Meals on Wheels delivery. There's also the option for frozen meals delivery and frozen meal pickup at the ADRC. In addition to that, they have lots of activities and events. Unfortunately, our current activities coordinator is moving back to her former employer for kind of a step up in responsibilities. So we are recruiting for that position. It's a really fun position, in my opinion. And there's everything from exercise to tax benefits to art classes, book clubs, really anything you can think of and any ideas you might have if you're of an age where you qualify to go to the ADRC for those services. Many of them are free. They'll bring in a gadget guy to help you with your iPhone or iPad. I could go on and on. And we tracked 7,600 volunteer hours last year, which is an average of 80 hours a week of volunteer services. And that's why annually they have a recognition meal and program to recognize the many volunteers there. Joe also wanted me to speak to our business office side of things. And there we have our business manager, Julie Benke, and she manages a dynamic team of women. I should mention that currently, other than a bus driver, the ADRC is a dynamic team of all women, and there's a lot of people that work there. And our business office does all of our accounts receivable, accounts payable. They man our front desk. My office is right adjacent to the front desk, and I can tell you They are geniuses. They don't know what's going to walk in the door and what the needs are going to be and what the status of the person's physical wellness and emotional wellness is. And they really field a lot, and they're spectacular and kind and trauma informed, which is what we want them to be at getting them to where they need to go within our department. So thank you. What's it?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Kropchik, Public Health Officer, and I think I have like 33 seconds left, so I'll try to do my best. I'm just kidding. I just want to start out by saying, first off, thank you for some of you who came to our open house last Wednesday, learned a little bit more about public health and community health as a whole. I just want to start with 3 words, and those are assessment, assurance, and policy. So if you sum up what public health does, it normally falls into those 3 categories. The assessment aspect is by state statute, we're required every 5 years to assess Door County on what some of those health problems, some of those health conditions we need to look at. A lot of times you'll think that they're like obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. We are actually looking right now at affordable housing, social isolation, and competent workforce. So we have a team of about 25 community leaders. Vinny is a part of that leadership team that are looking at those 3 issues over the next 2 to 3 years. We'll do another assessment within 5 years. From that 5-year assessment, we actually look to put together what we call a community health improvement process. And I'll put some brochures at the end of the table here. I'd like each one of you to grab those and be a part of that, because that is your plan. That's not public health's plan. It's the county's plan. It's the community's plan. It's our leadership like yourself that are part of that plan, to see if we can find out if Door County as a whole is improving over the next 5 years in those 3 areas. The other area I just want to talk a little bit about is assurance. We have probably 4 main programs in public health. That's the nutritional area, health education, community health nursing, and environmental health. So we do specific programming in each one of those 4 areas. It can be anything from like immunizations, well baby checks, counseling for nutritional services, health and human hazard, just a variety of different programming in those 4 areas. I won't go through all of them, but it's very diverse. Probably the biggest aspect of that is we need partnerships. So we work really closely with law enforcement, emergency management, United Way, Boys and Girls Club, the faith community. We partner with as many people as we can to try to provide all those services in general. And then the last area I just want to touch briefly on is policy. It's our responsibility as a public health department to recommend policy. Late 1990s, Wisconsin going smoke free. Public health is like part of moving those forward. We try to do that each by county, then by city. Finally, after city of Appleton, La Crosse, Winnebago, and those 3, we're really making some progress. The state just decided to, hey, you know what, too much pressure from public health as a whole. Let's see if we can get this policy kind of got through. So instead of offering classes to maybe 10 to 12 individuals who want to stop smoking, we passed policy to really try to make a difference to make those a little bit healthier. So policy from a public health perspective is really, really powerful and really, really important. You guys kind of saw that in 2020 with COVID. So the only way that we kind of got a little bit of control over that was through policy, not just by just giving shots to everyone. So with that, I'll stop, and I just want to say thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any questions? I will say the 3 of us have taken this show on the road. Learning in retirement takes about 2 hours to go through all of the stuff we want to do. But if you all want to come and hang out with us, then you're welcome. And the rest of you will get more that are on the Health and Human Services Committee in a couple weeks. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Thad Ash. I am the Highway Commissioner, Department Head of Highway and Airport. Our Oversight Committee is Highway and Facilities. As Ken mentioned, our hierarchy goes County Board, Oversight Committee, Ken, and my wife. And after 5 o'clock at night, that hierarchy chart changes. I'm reminded of that daily. So as a highway department, we are responsible for basically anything inside of road right-of-ways. The highway department is its own entity. We are part of the county, but the only part of our operations that is covered under tax levy or taxes is our CIP, which is our County Improvement Program, which the board has taken a measure on to historically do 15 to 20 miles of road reconstruction each year. Otherwise, our equipment purchases, our wages and benefits, everything comes out of our operating capital that our department makes. We're responsible for 592 lane miles of county road maintenance, everything from brush cutting, tree cutting, shouldering, pothole patching, snow removal. We are also under contract with Wisconsin Department of Transportation for 268 lane miles of maintenance to their system. We do not do any construction on the state highway system. And no, we are not responsible for any of that mess going on 42 North. That's not us. That's all state. We also operate the 3 lift bridges in Sturgeon Bay that are owned by the DOT. 2023, there was just over 4,600 openings. That was between pleasure craft and commercial. And we are also under contracts with towns and villages to maintain 1,174 miles of the 1,743 lane miles of local roadways. For those who aren't quite sure, state highways are numbered, county roads are letters, and local roads are words. That's how that works. We have 3 facilities. We got our main shop is in Sturgeon Bay, in Duluth, South Duluth Avenue. We have a shop in Brussels, and we have one in the village of Sister Bay. We have our own hot mix plant, and annually we produce and lay approximately 70,000 tons of hot mix asphalt. We have 6 mines and quarries where we mine, crush, and or purchase some sand to the tune of approximately 60,000 tons of aggregate, which goes into our hot mix and our road maintenance programs. We have 4 fueling facilities where we purchase and disperse fuel for 60 countywide departments and other agencies like other than county departments, Sturgeon Bay Police, Sturgeon Bay Fire, Sturgeon Bay School, Southern Door School, you know, those type of agencies throughout the county. The highway department, we maintain over 300 pieces of construction equipment. I am also in charge of applying for and reimbursing towns and villages on the recycling grants annually. We also hold or I apply for a household hazardous waste and egg clean sweep program, which we have applied for and we did receive. Those are generally held odd, even numbered years. That being said, it is first weekend in November of 2024. And typically we have a drop site in Sister Bay and then at our highway shop in Sturgeon Bay. Well, I also am in charge of the airport. I have 1 manager out there. There's approximately 68 buildings, airplane hangars, that either are personally owned or are county owned. So the people who have them either lease the land that their building is on or the hangar itself from the county. They pay rent on those parcels. And last year at the airport, there was approximately 7,500 touches, that being landings and takeoffs for the season. And again, my oversight committee is highways and facilities.
Okay. Would the board be interested in taking a break at this time, maybe? Take a 10-minute break, please. Sure, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Tom, you're up.
You got.
Okay.
Mike?
All right, we now return you to the gong show if I go over it, right, Jill?
Yep.
Okay. Ken's got it under the desk. Hi, I'm Dominic Crandrup. I'm the library director. Library has 8 locations across Door County: Bailey's Harbor, Egg Harbor, Ephraim, Fish Creek, Forestville, Sister Bay, Liberty Grove, Sturgeon Bay, and Washington Island. We coordinate consistent basic services across all of our locations, but each library has the flexibility to cater to its individual community. Library headquarters are here in Sturgeon Bay. The county board and library board provide oversight of operations, and Chapter 43 of Wisconsin state statutes clarifies that relationship and governs various aspects of library functionality. Door County was established as a consolidated county library in 1990. Our funding model involves local municipalities caring for physical infrastructure, and the county of Door supports staffing and operational costs. The Sturgeon Bay building costs are split between the city and the county. The Door County Library Board has 7 members, 2 appointments from the county, Nissa Norton and Morgan Rusnick, 2 appointments from the city of Sturgeon Bay, Spencer Gustafson and Helen Bacon, 2 at-large members, Robert Dixon for Northern Door and Mary Jackson for Southern Door. And we also have an appointment from the Door County School Administrator, who is currently Bridget Bowers. The Door County Library belongs to the Nicolay Federated Library System, say that 9 times fast, which is part of a larger library consortia called Owl's Net. All 49 library locations in Owl's Net consortia share materials accessed by users throughout InfoSoup, which is our online catalog. That means you can order materials from Sturgeon Bay and get things delivered from Marinette County, for example. With 23,000 library card holders, nearly all Door County residents and many of our visitors belong to one of our 8 locations. We regularly hear from patrons how much they love and appreciate our libraries and our staff. When in 2023, just over 230,000 people visited one of our locations, and our circulation was at least one library material per visit. And 64,000 of those items are children's materials. The library also offers digital ebooks, e-audiobooks, and e-magazines, which are available through our Libby and Hoopla applications, which are available on your phone. And you may not know that there are also various library of things items available, such as telescopes, binoculars, kitchen gadgets, oral history kits, and toys and games for children, which are available for checkout. The Door County Libraries host about 580 programs per year, and with over 11,000 participants attending those. Notably, recently our pre-K storytime attendance has surged, which is almost double our pre-pandemic numbers. Our library partners with many local organizations for large events such as the Altrusa Back to School Fair, YMCA Healthy Kids Days, our Fishtails events, Door County Reads, and our summer reading programs. Other library services which are offered are 24/7 library Wi-Fi access available from all of our branches, computers and printing services, some private meeting spaces, reference services for research, and some technology assistance as well. We are currently in the midst of our strategic planning process for 2025 through 2027, and we invite all of you and the community at large to provide input to that planning process through our online survey available on our website, which is available in English and Spanish. Also, as part of my departmental duties, I also oversee the staffing of the museum and archives. Budgetary oversight for the museum is through highways and facilities. The Door County Historical Museum and Archives provides a variety of services by operating the only fully public museum in Door County with over 10,000 artifacts from the county's human and natural history. The largest general collection of Door County historic and archival material is in the archives, and staff utilize this collection to provide research assistance and historic photography to Door County businesses, nonprofits, and units of government.
Staff also collaborate on programming and project partnerships within historical community and other cultural organizations. The largest partnership is Door County History Days, this year, June 19th through June 25th, and with the Heritage Alliance of Door County. The archives have established the Door County Speaks Oral History Kit program, and that program was replicated by both the Boston Public Library and the Baltimore Public Library. This kit places professional quality oral history and resources at all Door County Library locations and works well within our Library of Things collections. I want to thank you all for serving on the County Board of Supervisors and your support of the library and the museum and archives. Please remember to take our Door County Libraries Community Survey, which is available again online, and provide input to our strategic planning process. If you have any questions or comments, please visit me across the street at the library. And I do have some flyers available in the back if you want to know what all of our programs are for the month of April. That's it. Two departments.
Gave you extra time.
Bring my own timer so Jill doesn't ding me. Mariah Good, Director of Door County Land Use Services. You can see our current org chart up there. The planning program in Door County was started in the 1960s with the first zoning ordinance adopted in 1968. That's the year that the state mandated that all counties start doing shoreline zoning, and the county adopted a comprehensive zoning ordinance at that time as well. The sanitarian and private on-site wastewater treatment system program was started in around 1967. That was in an effort to deal with water quality issues in the county, because before that there was no actually installation oversight for sanitary systems or any kind of ongoing maintenance program. And when that sanitarian program started, it was in public health at the time in the 1960s. We are actually in the process right now of hiring for 2 new brand code administrator positions. We've been undergoing some shifting this year of programs and staff, so we're excited about that. Once we have those 2 new hires, we will be at about 11 1/3 employees. We are one of the departments, I think, as Steve pointed out, that shares the administrative assistant between treasurer, clerk, finance, and land use services. And then we have one very part-time limited term employee who is grant funded right now that's helping with one of our project areas. So the planning portion of our department deals with the comprehensive plan and the farmland preservation plan, both of which are state mandated plans that we need to do every 10 years. You'll see that coming back later this year because those plans are both due to be updated. We also work with other county departments to do their state mandated plans, like the transportation department, the Parks Department. We work with emergency management to do a hazard mitigation plan, and we do a flood evacuation plan as well. So our planning staff, which is really one person and a little bit of my time, work with those other departments to do their plans with them as well. The zoning program is comprised of 3 zoning ordinances. As I mentioned, we're mandated by the state to do shoreline zoning. We're also mandated by the state and the federal government to have a floodplain zoning ordinance. And then we do have that comprehensive zoning ordinance, which 9 of the 14 towns have opted into that. Towns have the choice of either doing their own zoning, no comprehensive zoning, or joining county zoning. The private on-site wastewater treatment system program is responsible for overseeing the installation of all systems, new systems that are going in. So they check the soils to make sure that the system type being put in is appropriate per state guidelines. And then we run a maintenance program that's mandated by the state in order to qualify for certain grant dollars. So systems are on a 3-year cycle that they need to get inspected every 3 years. The purpose of all of that, obviously, is water quality in the county to make sure those private on-site wastewater treatment systems are functioning properly. And right now we have about 15,000 systems, private septic systems in the county. Our oversight committee is the resource planning committee. That's 5 county board supervisors. That's a state mandated called planning agency. We also have the Board of Adjustment, which I think I forgot to put on that chart. That's 7 lay people, 5 regular members and 2 alternates. That's also a state mandated organization that helps oversee hearings for variances and appeals. We're on the third floor. Our website has a lot of information. If you want to look for more information or if you want to stop in and visit, that would be great. The website includes all of our statutes, our ordinances, programs, processes, more information about the Resource Planning Committee and the Board of Adjustment, and also links to our online application and permitting system. So that's all I have for now.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mariah.
All right, so thank you all for allowing us all to give you a little snippet into our departments today. And for some of you, welcome to county government. I'm Carrie Petersilka. I'm the Door County Register of Deeds. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on that. The Office of Register of Deeds in Wisconsin is older than the state itself, having been established in 1836 to protect the integrity of land ownership. The 1848 Wisconsin Constitution established the Register of Deeds Office as a permanent element of county level government, the governmental structure of the state. Each county in Wisconsin has a Register of Deeds, so there are 72 across the state. In 1907, the Register of Deeds statutorily became the designated office where all vital records for birth, marriage, death, and military discharge would be accepted, indexed, filed, stored, and issued. We now also issue divorce records, and vital records document our lives from birth to death. The Register of Deeds office serves as the official county repository for all real estate and vital records, as well as for safe archival storage of and access to these records for the public. With that said, here's a summary of the responsibilities of the Register of Deeds office. We record, provide access, and maintain real estate records, deeds, land contracts, mortgages, satisfactions, foreclosures. It can go on and on. If documents are not recorded, they are not a public record. We record, we provide access, maintain, and issue certified copies of birth, marriage, death, divorce, domestic partnerships, and military discharge records. We implement statutory changes, system modernization, program and procedure evaluations, and staff development to assure a high level of timely service for our citizen customers. We coordinate operations with various state and federal agencies, including vital records, administration, safety and professional services, Department of Revenue, Natural Resources, and Internal Revenue Service. Over the past year, the Register of Deeds Office recorded, tracked, indexed, and scanned over 7,200 documents. We issued a total of just under 7,000 vital records and back indexed just short of 16,000 documents that are digitized and that do need indexing. Along with these accomplishments, the Register of Deeds Office is a revenue-based office and is not on the tax levy, giving back to the general fund every year. Land records originate in the process, along with the Register of Deeds current staff, we will be welcoming the real property lister and the land information officer beginning in June. Land records originate in the process by being recorded in the Register of Deeds office and proceed along to the real property lister. In 1951, the Wisconsin legislature, which you can see on our org chart, how we have the Register of Deeds, and then we've added now the real property lister and the GIS LIO officer. And so I'm going to give you a little background on those two positions as well. In 1951, the Wisconsin legislature created the position of county real property lister to ensure that lands were represented accurately for assessment and taxation purposes. The real property lister uses the recorded information from the Register of Deeds office to create the assessment rolls that underlie the entire taxation process. Between the real property lister and the land information officer, splits of property, subdivisions, easements are mapped for the public and county to create the tax roll. These updates are also provided to the public through the county web portal and the county GIS maps. The land information officer coordinates projects within the county along with developing and receiving approval for a countywide plan for land records modernization. This plan is updated every 3 years and submitted to the Wisconsin Department of Administration for approval. The Land Information Office receives funding from state grants along with a portion of the recording fee from the Register of Deeds office to help fund projects related to modernizing land-based county departments. The Land Information Office also reviews and recommends projects from the county for grants from the Department of Administration. The Register of Deeds Office is the foundation of the county, its land, and its people. All departments utilize the records in the Register of Deeds Office in one shape or form. So we work very closely with a lot of departments, and we look forward to adding these 2 new positions to our office. And if you have any questions, can answer them. Okay, thank you.
Good morning. I'm Pat McCarty. I'm the Chief Deputy Under Sheriff for the Door County Sheriff's Office, and today I appear on behalf of Sheriff Sternard. The Door County Sheriff's Office traces its origin back to 1858 with the election of Lorenzo Brown as County Sheriff. Since that time, 34 men and women have served in the office of Sheriff in Door County. Today, we are the primary law enforcement agency for all areas of Door County with the exception of the city of Sturgeon Bay and the town of Washington. Our structure is quasi-military in nature with the sheriff, followed by myself, and then our professional standards captain. Organizationally, we have 2 major divisions, patrol and jail, and each of those is supervised by a lieutenant. Our patrol division is supervised by our field services lieutenant, and it is comprised of 27 uniformed deputies, which includes 4 sergeants who supervise the patrol division. The breakdown is 4 sergeants, 20 deputies, 2 canine deputies, 1 mental health community engagement deputy. Our canine program was resurrected in 2017 with the approval of this board, and in 2022 it was expanded to include a 2nd dog. This program is funded entirely through donations, and in 2023, the canine unit deployed 121 times for vehicle searches, drug detections, trackings, school searches, and demonstrations. The field services lieutenant also oversees our investigative unit, which consists of a sergeant and 3 investigators. Our school resource officer program began in 2019-2020 school year. And we currently have contracts with Southern Door, Sebastopol, and Gibraltar school districts. A uniformed school resource officer is assigned at each of these schools on a full-time basis, and the school resource officers are supervised by our investigative sergeant. The patrol division is also supplemented by a reserve unit whose primary responsibilities are to assist with traffic control and security at major events. These include the 4th of July celebrations, triathlon, the Door County Fair, Pumpkin Patch Fall Festival, high school sporting events, and other functions. On the other side is our jail division, which is supervised by our jail administrator, who is also lieutenant. There are 18 full-time deputies, 2 part-time deputies, and 3 sergeants in the jail division. The jail administrator also oversees our 2 court security officers. In 2023, we had an average daily population in our jail of 62 inmates. Some of the specialty programs in our jails include a healthy relationship class, GED, HSD, an inmate worker program, an AOD A group and substance recovery, individual mental health counseling, religious programs, Operation Fresh Start, pretrial release programs, an AODA program, a therapy dog program, and a mindfulness meditation group. Southern Health Partners is our contracted inmate medical and mental health provider, and Summit Food Services is our contracted meal provider for the jail. There was a pretrial release program which was started in 2018, and the Sheriff's Office also participates in a drug treatment court, which was started in 2020. The Sheriff's Office has a jurisdiction includes over 1,800 miles of water, and the Sheriff's Office has a 29-foot Donzi, which responds to incidents on the water. During peak summer months, deputies also conduct marine patrols in heavily used areas. And these patrols are funded through DNR grants. In the winter, the sheriff's office also conducts snowmobile grants, which are funded in a similar manner. Other specialty teams for the sheriff's office include a multi-jurisdictional SWAT team, which includes members of the sheriff's office, the Sturgeon Bay Police Department, and tactical medics from emergency services. We also participate in a multi-jurisdictional dive team comprised of members of the sheriff's office, Sturgeon Bay Police Department, Sturgeon Bay Fire Department, State Patrol, DNR, and emergency services. This team is a Wisconsin alert team, and they are subject to deployment for assistance to any agency in the state. We also have a multi-jurisdictional missing and endangered response team, or MERT, which investigates abductions and critical missing person cases. The incidents in Two Rivers over the last few months really show the importance of planning for these complex types of cases. Our jail division has a corrections response team, or CERT team, which is designed to respond to violent incidents within our facility. I started with the sheriff's office 30 years ago. The job of today's deputy is far more complex than when I started. We have more and more growth and more visitors to the county each year. The controlled substances that they encounter on patrol are far more lethal. Heroin, fentanyl, methamphetamine, which were unheard of 30 years ago, are now commonplace. And all our deputies carry Narcan, not only to protect themselves, but they have deployed it on many occasions to counteract an overdose. Calls for with a mental health nexus are commonplace, occurring almost daily. Our deputies are recorded and their movements are tracked by GPS. But today's deputy is far more educated than his or her predecessor. They undergo more training than ever. They are technical savvy and they truly care about the community they serve. Recruitment is one of our biggest challenges. When I was hired, there was an auditorium of prospective candidates vying for one or two positions. Today's hiring market is far more competitive. And in recent years, we have revamped our hiring process to streamline the process in hopes of attracting the best candidates. Please visit our website for more information on our annual report or for information about our operations. And please call me, email me if you have any questions or concerns, or if I can be of assistance. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So first, a show of hands from the audience. Who read the Peninsula Pulse this last time? Boy, if it was unanimous, I could sit down. If you haven't read it, please do. So it really describes a lot what we do in our office. But as far as my name is Greg Colthurst, the Door County County Conservationist and the Administrator for the Soil and Water Conservation Department. Our oversight committee is the Land Conservation Committee, made up of 6 members of the county board and 1 appointed individual, which is engaged in agricultural use, which is again, Jake Bry. Staff-wise, we have 1 administrative assistant, Beth Hansen. She's been there for 35 plus years now. We have 6 conservationists, 1 of which is vacant and specializes in the invasive species program. And then we have 2 to 3 LTEs that work in the summertime working on invasive species also. So as far as programs go, our guidance, our authority for our programs is under Wisconsin State Statute, Chapter 92. Some of the programs that we work on are guided through our Land and Water Resource Management Plan, which is a 10-year plan. Every 5 years, we do updates on that plan, but that current plan goes through 2030. One of our big ordinances that we have in our office is the Agricultural Performance Standards and Animal Waste Storage Ordinance. It was most recently updated in 2018 to adopt the slurry and bedrock standards, which helps protect our groundwater in our county. The first ordinance that we had in the county was back in 1987. So I think we had like 5 updates since then. We work on a lot of different conservation practices, but basically it's about natural resource protection, surface water, groundwater, soils, natural resources, etc. We heard a little bit about Door County Chapter 36, which is our non-metallic mining ordinance. We've had that for several decades as well. We provide technical assistance to the Land Use Services Department through an intergovernmental agreement. Some of those technical services are with impervious surface ratio, stormwater, and land disturbance recommendations. We do a lot of water quality testing in the county, both surface and groundwater. Current studies that we have ongoing right now are with UW Oshkosh on our well program. We do a spring and fall sample. We have those results since 2019 on our website. And we also have an emerging contaminant study going on right now with GZA Geo Environmental Incorporated. Other programs include the Wildlife Damage Program, Farmland Preservation. We mentioned invasive species. Our budget is about 1.2 million a year. And typically half of that is through grant funding. So we're reliant on a lot of grant monies. With that, any questions?
Yes, you.
Chair. I think one of the things that's interesting is how many of our departments are kind of interdependent with others. And one I just wanted to call out is the land, the soil and the water with the invasive species, with the work that they did to help the broadband team. Most of the government grants, they all have requirements, environmental requirements. So for example, if we're going to lay fiber in Egg Harbor, town of Egg Harbor, Sevastopol, town of Sturgeon Bay, Jacksonport, for example, we have to know where the long-eared bats are. Well, those folks, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, others won't tell us where they are because they're endangered. But working with the team in the county, they can help us do the proper assessments and do it at one time, so we can look at everything from the bats to the Heinz dragonfly to dwarf iris, those sorts of things, because those are all elements that kind of crop up that you don't really know about that are part of these federal requirements. So I appreciate the work that Greg and his team are doing, and I hope we can get that open slot filled to help us out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joey, I put the timer in.
1 minute.
The technology department, I thought we'd have some intro music, like The Price is Right.
30 seconds.
All right. Okay, I'll start with my committee is the admin committee. Essentially, we oversee the technology and its use for our facilities and departments. We make sure that they have adequate resources so that way they can do what they do more efficiently from a technology standpoint. Unlike most of the departments that were up here, they all provide something to the constituents. We, on the other hand, are more of a Bette Midler's wind beneath your wings type situation where we make sure that they can do their jobs better so they can provide those services for the constituents. We're not like a Best Buy where we work on taxpayer computers or things of that nature. Some good statistics. We have roughly 1,100 devices, 100 servers, 550 phones, 2,500 active ports, 600 terabytes of disk, and 110 access points, all in 2 primary data centers, one here and one at the Justice Center facility that are highly available, redundant data centers to one another where we replicate our data between the 2 and can sustain our entire organization off of one of those data centers. Our other primary locations would be Sister Bay, the ADRC, EMS, Highway, Airport, and of course, our new additions, the towers, where we handle those now with our new project management position. Pretty much touch every department. What doesn't run on with technology now at this point, from squad cars and body cams to 911 and radio communications to everything pretty much in this room, from the TVs and the projectors to the microphone that I'm speaking to you on right now, all us. We also do training for county board tablets, as you probably have figured out, right? So I'm waiting for the gong, right?
Yeah.
What you want me to-
No.
Over 1 minute already.
So everything, phones, printers, computers, servers, squad cars, licensing, security, not just the digital stuff with the firewalls. We're talking fob access to get you in, and the cameras that are watching what we're doing here and at the Justice Center. Department software, enterprise software, the open records requests, boy, are those fun. Everything digital related to that. CJIS requirements for the criminal justice, you have to follow a pretty strict guidelines. Again, we've pretty much decided anything with blinky lights or a cord going to it, that'd be us. We do it all with a staff of 8, myself included. So I think we do a pretty nice job for the county, and I think we have a pretty nice system.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for waiting patiently.
Good morning. I am Beth Van Oss, the Door County Veteran Service Officer. Our oversight committee for our office is the Administrative Committee. While often assumed to be federal or state employees, Wisconsin County Veteran Service Officers are employed at the county level per state law and must be veterans of active duty military service with an honorable discharge. Each county veteran service office is to be a standalone department within their respective county governments and is responsible for hiring and providing appropriate staffing, facilities, and a budget to enable the office to best serve the veteran population of the county. Our office deals with a large variety of benefits and programs for veterans. Our office processes veterans affairs, disability and pension claims, assist veterans with GI Bill education incentives, VA home loans, medical care, nursing homes, obtaining replacement discharge documents, military medals, and official military personnel records, death benefits, veteran cemeteries, funeral honors, life insurance, employment, vocational rehabilitation, and a host of other federal programs. On the state side, we can assist veterans in obtaining emergency aid grants, participation in veteran assistance programs for the homeless and drug dependent, veteran state nursing home care, education programs, and state and local eligibility applications. At the county level, CVSOs are involved in emergency financial assistance and in helping any veteran or veterans dependent in need. Just to provide you all with some relevant background information, I served in the United States Navy from 2008 to 2011 and was hired by the county in 2014 as the assistant in the office. In 2019, after Scott McFarland's retirement, I was promoted to the County Veteran Service Officer position. Robert Walsh was hired as the assistant in 2022 after retiring from the United States Coast Guard after serving 20 years. His knowledge and tenure in the Coast Guard has been a valuable asset to our office due to the fact that we provide resources and benefits to the 3 active duty Coast Guard units located here in Sturgeon Bay. It is also imperative to note that the mission and purpose of our office in relation to our annual report is that pure numbers cannot quantify the value of what the Door County Veterans Office does. There is a real human value and need to the services we provide, which is seen and felt by the Door County veterans and the families we help. Behind the numbers are real lives that have sacrificed physically and mentally to serve our country. Thank you. Any questions? Thanks.
All right, Judy.
I'm Judy Knudsen. I'm an Area Extension Director overseeing county extension offices in Door, Brown, and Kewaunee counties. And Extension is a partnership between the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension and county government. And Extension embodies the Wisconsin idea by connecting the research and educational resources of UW-Madison to residents and communities to address local, state, and county needs. Each of you have a table of organization at your place setting. We're set up a little bit differently. So in the Door County Extension Office, we have 3 staff. We have 1 support staff. We also have a 4-H program educator who oversees the 4-H program in the county with 168 youth and 6 clubs and 2 projects. Also, 4-H is the largest youth development program in the country. And then we also have a human development and relationships educator who works on issues related to mental health and our aging population. We also have 2 regional agricultural educators that serve Door, Kewaunee, and Brown counties. The first of those is a dairy educator, working with farms to increase their profitability. She also does a lot of work with farms in regards to on-farm research. She just finished up a copper sulfate foot bath research project that was done in the eastern part of the state. She's working with Michigan State University right now and local farmers on a bovine leukemia virus research project, and with the Colorado State University on the transportation of pre-weaned dairy heifers. So topics that are of interest to our dairy operations in the county. We also have a regional crops and soils educator that also serves Door, Kewaunee, and Brown counties. And this individual does a lot of work in regards to emerging pests, cover crops, that sort of thing. She just facilitated training for 24 farmers as well as their employees to pass the private pesticide applicator exam that they need to have to get their certification to purchase chemicals for farm use. She's getting ready to do alfalfa scissor clippings, which is when they go out to farms, clip alfalfa prior to harvest. That first crop has the most nutritional value, gets sent to a testing lab in De Pere, and then communicated broadly with agronomists and farmers throughout the counties to make them aware of where their the nutritional value is of that alfalfa, so they know exactly when they need to be able to harvest. We also have a FoodWise program that serves Door County as well as Manitowoc and Kewaunee counties. UW Extension Division or University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension has been able to access USDA dollars to be able to deliver nutrition education, food safety programming, physical activity programming to youth and adults that are designated low income. So most of these individuals would be receiving food stamps, which now would be referred to as SNAP dollars. And so active up here and working with a number of organizations, starting community gardens, that sort of thing, and working with farmers markets. And Extension reports to the Land Conservation Oversight Committee. Any questions?
All right, thank you. Well, again, the whole idea was just to give you a name and a face and just a general overview. You can see that we have one very talented, but also passionate department heads. And as I mentioned last week, if depending on how we do that presentation, we're probably, 26 to 28, you take Joe's area, balloon up to 40, but all those different areas are, in my mind, all have different goals and objectives and operate independently, but we all come together as a county to provide those services. So I encourage you, especially for your home communities, to take a look at those annual reports. It kind of gives you a glimpse of what they accomplished, but it also defines some of their issues they foresee coming over the next year that they're hoping to work with you on to move the county forward. So again, thank you for allowing the time of the department heads to introduce themselves, but also just to give you a glimpse into the workings that you're going to be overseeing for the county on behalf of the constituents. So I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for those comments, Ken. I guess I'd like to add that even if you've been here years, there's always things that we can learn about what the departments are doing. And for the newer members of the board, maybe this gives a little understanding. There's all the constitutional officers, and those are by statute, and others that are delivering services like health and human services, and areas of in water quality and in roads and Some are our own endeavors with our parks and library and museums, but they're all important. And it's surprising how often people don't understand what county government does, but we touch so many lives with all what's work here, all the work we do here. And I want to thank all the department heads that I think put in a lot of effort. So under special, I'm sorry, Roy?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to reiterate your comments, but this is the first time I've seen such a nice comprehensive annual report documenting what the departments do. And I imagine it was a lot of work, but I encourage all my compatriots to either make a hard copy of that or keep that on your computer, because it's a real great report. I've learned something from it, even though I've been on the county board before. So thanks again to the department heads for their presentation. I really like the way we did it this time. Even though it was a long session, I think it was very helpful, and I urge all my fellow supervisors to contact these department heads if you want a more understanding of what that department does.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Anyone else? Okay, we also have the gift grants and donations report that was included in the packet. That's for your review. Otherwise, no questions on those. Okay, new business. Is Penny?
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to add the proclamation for June as Open Door Pride Month to the May 2024 County Board agenda.
Okay. First, I want to deal with the process here. For her to make a motion, she would need a second to that.
Correct. It's a proper motion, but we need a second for the board to consider the matter. And if there is a second and it is considered, the consideration will solely be on whether the topic is placed on the May agenda, not the underlying issue itself. This is solely a motion to whether or not the board desires to place it on the May agenda for the county board.
Okay. And there was a second by Norton. Okay, so there is a motion and a second.
Can I ask a question?
Is it really up for discussion or not?
There can be discussion.
There can be discussion, okay.
So I still have
Go
the
ahead.
floor, right? Okay. So I would like this to be put on the agenda as June is Pride Month, is recognized federally, state and local level. It's a it's recognized that the LGBT community has historically and presently experienced discrimination. Pride Month is a way to support diversity, inclusivity, and acceptance. A proclamation takes nothing away from other groups or proclaimed months. It's an act of democracy to be able to place something on an agenda as a board and to have the board take it up as a discussion. Public good is our responsibility, regardless of our individual moral or religious beliefs. Less harm is done and more care is given when we lead with acceptance. I also see this as a part of the community health improvement, as acceptance being a piece of that for mental wellness and the reduction of social isolation. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. The request had come first to past board chair Lino, and I was made aware of it, and Vinny approached me after the meeting a week ago. As county board chair, I was not planning to include it in our agenda. We're just starting out as new members to this board. It's has been a divisive issue in the past. We just recently, 2 or 3 months back, whenever it was, had the issue with the flying of the flag, and there's a wide variance of opinion around the community, and but the motion is on the floor, so seeing no further comment, we'll vote on the motion. I'm sorry. Okay, Dodd?
Yeah, I appreciate your comments, Chairman Engelbert, and I agree with those comments. And I just think it's a topic that is considered for county board, and one could make the argument that What does it hurt or what does it not hurt to have that? But I agree with you as far as the divisiveness, but I want all county members to understand that, whether you vote in positive for this or negative, this does not mean that you're in any kind of an argument with the LGBTQ community or any kind of those things. Oftentimes we think about whether or not it's the business of the county to do things like this and of this. There are so many groups that could come forward with proclamations and those types of things. There are plenty of places in the county that certainly do observe these kinds of things. So I'm not telling you anyone how to vote, but I would rather not have the ambiance that if you do not vote to place it on the county board, that you're in difference to this type of stuff, or that you are negative toward any of it. It's a personal choice.
The county board has taken action in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so that I think is significant. Vinnie, you had a second comment?
So my second comment would be that just to refocus that this is an opportunity for the entire board to have an opportunity to have an opinion on this and to be able to discuss that in the May meeting if it's on the agenda, and to be able to vote accordingly, which I think is responsible to our constituents, to have them be represented in that discussion.
Okay, any other requests to speak? Okay, seeing no other comments, we'll call for the question. Okay. All in favor of the motions? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll do it on the, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. All in favor of the motion, vote yes on your board. Or if opposed, no. Okay, the vote on the motion is 8 yes, 10 no, and 3 absent. So it will not be included on the May agenda. Oral committee minute of reports. I think we just touched on a lot of what's happening in the departments with those reports. Review of committee minutes. The review of vouchers, claims, and bills. And with the announcements, the first one up is the meeting in a couple of days on April 25th. That meeting in Appleton is primarily for the chair or the vice chair or appointee. The purpose of the meeting is to elect delegates to the state committees. And so I will be planning to attend that one. The WCA conference in September, that more information will be coming on that. Registration for the rooms and the conference begins on June 3rd, and coordinate that with the clerk because rooms book up quickly and you need to get that done ASAP. The other meeting that's coming up is the COWS meeting. I think perhaps you have information that was passed out last month. This is the meeting coming up in May, and that's for all board members. Registration, Joe would like to have us register by May 1st. The meeting is May 15th, and that's in Green Bay at the Rock Garden. Okay. And the next county board meeting would be May 28th at 9 a.m.
Pictures.
Sorry?
Pictures.
Oh, yes, important that it's a note on here, individual and group pictures. Some of you came prepared for pictures today. That's good. Dale wore his special county board tie.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Hey, just a quick reminder again, just with the announcements. So again, for that May COWS meeting, we need to know by the 1st if you want to attend. Okay, so you need to let Jill know if you'd like to attend that so she can get you registered. For the WCA conference of September, we're going to ask you at our May meeting if you want to go. So please check those dates. Again, if you're interested in attending, we need to get those rooms reserved. So you need to have your in or out when we come to you in May and ask you for your attendance. Correct, Jill?
Yeah, yes, and once we book a room, it's kind of booked, so please check your calendars and know if you're gonna go. It's lacrosse, and for those of you that have been there before, that is spread all over. I will do my best to get you a hotel that's close to the conference center, but there's no guarantees. So if you want to book on your own because you think you can do it faster, please feel free. You can put it on your time card as a reimbursement. We've tried to coordinate in the past, but I've also had a handful of supervisors complain about not having a hotel across the street. I cannot guarantee you will have a hotel across the street. So be prepared if we're going to try to do this as a group that you may end up further out. Lacrosse.
The convention center downtown, right in the waterfront.
And your room may not be ready till 10. Yes, yeah. The lacrosse is not a great spot for this conference, but it is what it is.
Just for, oh, sorry, go ahead, Ken. Okay, just for a better explanation of the meeting this week, it is to elect members to the WCA Board of Directors and the County Mutual Insurance. And there's so many representatives from each of the districts that are created in Wisconsin. We're part of the East Central District, which is Brown, Calumet, Dorf, Fond du Lac, Kewanee, Manitowoc, Outagamie, Sheboygan, and Winnebago. And I've already been contacted by 2 people interested in serving on that state board of directors. So, thank you. We'd be open to a motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. No, go ahead.
House meeting? Can you, what's?
That's the district meeting. I asked if you had received this in your packet. I think.
You got that in your big packet last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, that one. Got it. Never.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Green Bay would be May 15th and
Yep.
it starts at
Got it.
8 in the morning. Okay. Bob?
I'll just chime in. I went to the cows meeting twice and anybody that's new should definitely go to that. It's definitely worth it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we're open for adjournment. Motion by Dale. Is there a second? Second by Shaw. Okay. All in favor of adjourning, signify by aye. Opposed? Thank you. Stand adjourned.